Hey everyone, RemanX here, and we're going to talk about something that I've been getting a lot. With Sagas coming to the game, your Dark Dimension 5 priorities probably changed. We're going to talk about this. If you've already beaten Dark Dimension 5, hopefully you saved some teal gear, because the requirements for Saga and Apocalypse include 16 and 17 on characters to get the full unlock potential. So we're going to start by why I'm going to start shifting some recommendations, and we're going to be theory crafting this over the channel. But I want you guys to understand that this isn't going to be for anything other than efficiency in utilization of your resources. This isn't going to be for speed or the best team. It's not going to feel great going through it, but it's going to feel great when you're done having the resources to invest in the teams that are going to help you get Apocalypse. So if you guys don't know, the sagas have been announced. I'm going to do a full video breaking that down as more information is being sent out. So we're going to basically, because the information is trickling out, I'm going to wait and get all the information, get all the frequently asked questions that you guys have been asking, and get that information to you guys ASAP. In the meantime, we're going to talk about what we know. And what we know is that the Horseman team are going to be essential to go through these sagas and get these characters to unlock Apocalypse. So you have to maximize 1, 2, and 3 difficulties, which are basically gated by gear on your Horseman team. So where does that leave you? Well, we'll start with the first most obvious one, and we're going to talk about the characters from the Darkhold, specifically, that I think have some viability in Dark Dimension 5. And I'm going to say this out loud. Scarlet Witch isn't terrible. She works really well with a character like Dr. Doom and Captain Sam with their high health pools. But in the end of the day, her overall utility there isn't great because she's missing some of her bonuses from her team. That being said, you're going to have to bring her up anyway. So if she does winds up being on your list, remember, she's a little more expensive than some of her contemporaries. That being said, Wong and Agatha are usable in Dark Dimension 5, and they probably should be prioritized over some other characters. So what's going to happen is we'll do some additional testing over the next few days here. I'll probably finish my Dark Dimension 5 run that I'm currently on, go back in and just try to take some of these tunes. But from the feedback I've gotten, that players that have already started to do this, they've worked exceptional. So Wong and Agatha for global, okay, and then we're going to talk about how we make a hybrid team out of that. And then, so obviously, Legendary Morgan Le Fay is probably the only one worth consideration. And then Doctor Strange Heartless and Cosmic is, again, another good choice. Is he going to be exceptional there? He's not really great. He's more of a support character. He does decent damage. But the other characters they have there will carry him if we choose the right team. So let's move on. We still want to make sure we're not sabotaging our raids. I use these guys to sim raids every day. And I'll do another video about all the nodes I can sim in 2.3. And then we're going to do another video about what's going to happen with the new raids when they come out. All right. So now we're going to talk about the Unlimited X-Men. The Unlimited X-Men double up on the global. And we're going to start with the easy solutions here. Okay. It's really just an easy one with them. As far as my priority, you build Gambit. That's it. Gambit works out really, really well. There's a lot of bonus damage. High health, so he works really well in that regard. Other than that, I would say I would not bring Phantom X or Dazzler in there. Sunfire, again, with this cooldown, is just too long. So the reality of it is, my recommendation, if you're just building teams, is Gambit, Wong, Agatha, Dr. Doom, and Captain Sam. Now, it seems like they're probably some obvious reasons. Maybe Dr. Doom gets phased out relatively soon with the tech team. He's already kind of on the cusp, but he is nearly essential to get through some of the global nodes the way they're designed. And he'll still have value in a lot of other modes. He isn't going to go away quite that easy. So remember, even though there's a tech team coming out, that's a big deal. So these are the Horseman teams that are currently announced. Now, the thing about it is we're probably going to get some more information over the next few weeks about the upcoming Horseman that's lurking in the shadows that hasn't been revealed yet. Likely another a global team, but we're not sure. Could be a mixture of global and city. We'll definitely have to see who winds up on this team as we're just getting revealed. So remember, sticking to the raid team, because you know that you can probably, if you wanted to, you can bring like Vision in here and maybe some of the other the tech characters just to have them for raids. But I think if you really want to maximize gear potential, these guys are going to be siphoning all of your gear if you're going to want to max Apocalypse. So and remember, there's no star requirement. So if you've already beaten the Scourge and already gotten the legendary character, that's the big difference. So we're going to talk about legendary. Obviously, I think legendary, we talked about this before, and it just makes sense that from the perspective of characters, Rogue and MILF are probably the highest priority right now. Now, the thing about it is, as these sagas come out and you're able to do more with them and you build up their associated teams, it looks like you're going to eventually be able to work out some synergies. These guys will likely be able to solo Dark Dimension 5 when their synergies are fully unlocked. So we'll definitely be paying attention to that. Right now, Morgan Le Fay's passive and her special are going to allow her to work with Rogue in an exceptional way. So I would say if you're focused on the legendaries and you have Rogue and you have Morgan Le Fay, those are your two staples. Anything else is extra. Omega Red is still phenomenal and is part of the solution for how we're beating Darkhold. But other than that, Shuri's probably fallen off the list a little bit in that she is being replaced by a tech team down the road in a month or so, and Doc Ock is probably not there. So you got to be relatively selective. It's probably going to be Iron Man who's going to replace Doc Ock as a staple for that, depending on how well his stats do. The fact that he's going to be able to extend those debuffs, he's probably going to be the character that I'm going to recommend because of the fact that he is going to be part of your raid team. So it'll be Rogue, Morgan Le Fay, Omega Red, pending new Horseman. Still probably Shuri and Iron Man if you're building them now, if you're close to getting the team. Other than that, stay tuned. We're going to be redefining these as we go through. And so this is the problem you're going to see is this gear will probably be restricted, but it also comes down to ISO as well. Remember, ISO requirements are part of it too. So just be careful. Don't. I will tell you to use extreme amounts of caution when you're adjusting ISOs at any point in time. I have already made some mistakes, and I want to make sure I do things you guys don't have to. And I've accidentally blue ISO forward some of these over here on both Thanos and Valkyrie. So be exceptionally careful as you're adjusting some of those ISOs. I just want to make sure you understand the sagas also include blue ISO for that. So these characters will get you through it. I think Rogue and MILF are both easy choices for legendary. But not a holding pattern, because I still think the Web Warriors were a good choice, specifically Spider-Man. So we'll talk about this. The other thing you can do is, if you're building for it, was the Web Warriors. Okay, so the Web Warriors in the city section were really good. And it's sad because we're going to talk about something else. Scarlet Spider, Ghost Spider, and Spider-Man are the ones I recommend if you're going to build for value and overall utility. Spider-Punk does very little to help the team out. And then, obviously Cloak was a hero there, but I'm worried the new Warriors have been faded into obscurity because I don't even use them in raids anymore. The Darkhold carries me through the raid a lot more than these guys do, at least when I'm simming them. Obviously, from a targeted perspective, these guys do exceptionally well, but that's part of the problem. So I would probably still bring Cloak, bring 2 or 3 of the Web Warriors, but again, you got to be very careful. That bio gear that seems like a value right now, it looks like a Gamma team is building. So that'll change the way that it is. And if a Gamma team shows up, it's Hulk and potentially She-Hulk that would be getting some sort of reworks. And She-Hulk is City. Okay? So stay tuned. Do not make that change. Knowing that the city there, city portion is a potential where she may be involved in the team. I would hold off if you haven't started that portion yet. Okay. Let's talk about the last piece, which is going to be Cosmic. Now, some people want to bring the hero as guardians to DD5. And I'm going to tell you to hold off. And the reason is, even though they're a Scourge team, they are not a Horseman team. So the only character I really recommend right now is Doctor Strange Heartless. And because there's no other cosmic characters realistically so far in the Horseman team, I'm going to start there. And I'm going to say probably Icarus, Cersei, and Kestrel are still high priorities. And they're going to help you get through it pretty quickly. That being said, it's pretty much, if you bring Icarus, Cersei, and Kestrel, anybody else you bring is going to get you through it, no matter what. But this is subject to change. It's very likely that there may be a cosmic character, potentially, it's possible, that a cosmic character can come into view for the Last Horseman when Death comes out. We don't know. But my guess is, if you want to get through it quickly. So, you beat Dark Dimension 5 today, what do? You only build your Horseman team and your raid teams. You're going to have to look at the requirements for the new raids and decide where you and your alliance can go, what you guys can get through. But you shouldn't be wasting it on teams that aren't going to get you into the end game. Apocalypse is shaping up to be an exceptional character just from looking at what the passives on the ability changes on Milfar. This is going to be one of those fun things to use and explore as the team shows up. So, again, Horseman team priority, raid teams to make sure you're getting the gear, and then just be patient. You don't have to beat every Dark Dimension node in one night. And restrict that gear, and make sure you save that gear for characters that have that Horseman team tag, so Darkhold, Limited XMen, after you're done. Remember, I do things so you don't have to, and I've got a lot of teal gear characters, and hopefully I can build for the Apocalypse team without too much difficulty. Stay safe.